glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome.
And apparently there we go. OBS. Wow, that was impressive. That's a first. A full pause screen freeze. Impressive. Apparently there's too much stuff going on in the chat right now. The chat is too lit, Ant.
That's what it is.
Wow. I mean, there's a good chance. There's a good chance the chat was too
what's
lit.
up to everyone in chat? Shooter, David Campbell, David V, Ernest, what's up, guys?
Yeah, how's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Evening indeed, Cutback crew. Evening indeed. We're at it again, Ant, with more news and things to talk about with this football team. There's a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to go over. And look, I mean, there's some interesting things going on. Let's start first and foremost with the easy stuff, Ant, and that is the moves that the 49ers have been making. They did make a roster move. They announced the following roster move ahead of the NFC Championship game. They've waived safety Jarrod Wilson. What do you think is behind that? Them moving off of Jarrod Wilson, this kind of frees up a roster spot. Is there someone they're getting ready to activate or maybe pull back into the roster and pull back into the fold?
Yeah, it could be Tavon Wilson. Tavon Wilson could be ready to roll. They also might be thinking about using an extra cornerback. They've had Darquez Gennard that they've been using on special teams, so maybe it's him. You also have the possibility that they might be thinking they need to go with an extra defensive lineman to increase the rotation.
True.
Especially, Jordan Willis battling through some stuff. Maybe they want to have Maurice Hurst for this game. I think they're just freeing up some possibilities. I don't think that Wilson is somebody that they needed anymore, so they're going to go ahead and move on. I wonder if they re-add him to the practice squad. We'll find out. But I think that this is just the normal moves you see at this point of the game. Or point of the season. I feel sorry for him. Sure, he wanted to be a part of the team as they go into the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, but it's business at this point.
It definitely is business, and that's all it's about right now is the business. And we'll see what this means and what the corresponding sort of moves are for the San Francisco 49ers in terms of, whether or not they're going to be doing things with this team, whether or not they're going to be, activating certain players, not activating certain players, and maybe just putting some guys right now who have been the inactives, healthy scratches, sort of back into the fold with the group. A lot of different ways they could go about doing this. We're going to see what happens. And I'm seeing, was it David V there? Was it David? Someone said Mostert. Oh, because we have Raheem G. Niners all day, every damn day. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're going with there, David. Now I'm caught up. I'm all good to go. Niners Rams fixing to be serious rivalry next year, regardless of the results. I think it kind of already is.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that right now it's kind of the feeling of the whole. To give it a feeling, or what everyone could kind of attest to, is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Sacramento Kings. In the early 2000s, it was a huge rivalry, even though the Kings never were able to get over the hump. True. That's what it feels like right now. But the Rams are one game away from winning. If they were to win this game, it definitely changes everything. If the 49ers win, it keeps that going, that they can beat the Rams at any moment. And every single game. So I think this is going to be a big one. This is a huge rivalry, especially going back to the 80s. And, this was a monster rivalry. And the 49ers, were usually the ones that got the upper hand. We'll see if they can continue that, though, right now. Kyle Shanahan seems to have his number, 6-0 in the last 6 games. Basically, since Nick Bosa has been drafted, the 49ers have not lost to the Los Angeles Rams.
Now, granted, Nick Bosa hasn't played in all of those football games, but nonetheless, Ant, you are still correct that since he's been drafted, it's just not been positive things for the Rams.
No.
And we actually got a very fun video coming out tomorrow that the Cutback crew is not going to want to miss out on. And we're going to discuss why the Niners have been 6-0 in the last 6 starts and try and put it together, make sense of it, because it's still at times hard to believe, especially since, 2 of those wins came last season in the 2020 campaign in which this team was injured to Kapui and back.
And one of them without Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback.
Very true, Ant.
So, we dive into it to see if we can find, the blueprint, the catalyst, the reason why the 49ers have beat the Rams 6 straight times.
I would like to know. I really would. I would like to know what's going on there, why it's happening, and why the Rams continue to seem to sort of struggle with this team and with the situation. But hey, look, it is what it is. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. Raheem says, I'd like to see Ayuk more involved in the run schemes Your thoughts?
I think that this week there could be a possibility of him being involved with like little reverses, maybe some fly sweep actions, those type of things. They go well because of the way that the Rams run defense. Because those Rams guys, if you can catch them sleeping on the outside, you can get around the edge. But I think last week against Green Bay, that definitely wasn't something they could do. The elements, the way that they were, I believe that they were trying to take away, Brandon in the pass game. So you're able to use Debo. But yeah, Brandon Ayuk in those sort of situations would be good. The problem with early in the season with Brandon running any sort of run plays, he just wasn't reading it very well. He kept trying to stretch everything to the sidelines and cutting up too late and missing open windows. So I think that he's had to develop some of that game. We'll see if they do it. But yeah, I think that could be on the table for this week.
Definitely could be the case. And to all the new Cutback crew members, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you hit that like button right now. Let's get the likes up. I'd love to see that get up there a little bit higher. Help pump that thing out to the rest of the faithful who are on other streams right now and will be coming in at some point as well. Also, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You want to be here for all the daily content that we have, all the live news updates that we're having all week long. And D-Real PK3 says, any word on the injuries? Kittle looked hurt at the end. Debo, Williams, Trent Williams' x-ray, we talked about this yesterday, came back negative. So no fracture, no real sustainable serious injury as of right now that we know of. They kind of compared it a little bit to what Jordan Willis is dealing with, which is a hybrid high-low ankle sprain. It's not really a high.
Yeah, Kyle said he doesn't know if it's a high ankle sprain or a low ankle sprain. He just said it was something that he had dealt with before. So earlier in the season, obviously Trent had something going on. But yeah, Jordan Willis was originally a high ankle sprain. And then they said it was a low ankle sprain. Then he said Trent had the same thing Jordan Willis had. Was it a high ankle sprain? Is it a low ankle sprain? Seems that we don't really know, and Kyle doesn't really want to give any of that information out.
And he's not going to right now. As for Kittle, no injury designation. He seems to be just fine. From what I heard, it was Charlie horse is what people were saying and what George apparently claimed. So he's fine. Apparently, post game for his presser, he jumped up onto the podium, the platform where the podium was, and jumped down from said podium. I think he's probably good.
Yeah, him and Fred had a huge excitement where they were kind of jumping around at the end of the game as well. I felt that it's just, natural bang of knees, wear and tear. He's always in the middle of the blocking. All those things, just add up. And I think it's just the totality of the hits in the game. But he'll have some time to rest and recover, and he should be good to go. The fact that he wasn't, in the injury report when Kyle Shanahan mentioned it, it's a good sign. The other one that it was great was Elijah Mitchell hasn't been listed again. So that means he's finally getting over whatever knee ailment he had, the last few weeks.
Very accurate. And Bomber, no, we do not think that Trent has a high ankle sprain. Kyle said it was what they thought was a high ankle sprain. They don't think it's a high ankle sprain. They're not sure what exactly it is. They're not clarifying. They're saying it's similar to what Jordan Willis had. They claimed originally that Jordan Willis's was a high ankle sprain, but as of right now, he played through it. Kyle said early this week on Monday that it wasn't a high ankle sprain for Jordan Willis. So it's a lot of mixed information. It's a mixed bag, but the fact that his x-rays came back with no structural damage to his ankle means that he probably just re-aggravated something he dealt with earlier in the year.
Yeah, what it means is if he can go, he's going to go.
Right.
If he can deal, it's all about pain tolerance. If he can deal with the pain, he's going to go out there and play. He played most of the Green Bay game, with that ankle. So I think he's going to go give it a roll and a run. We'll see what happens if he's limited at practice tomorrow. If he's limited at practice tomorrow, I think we can all expect Trent Williams to be out there. If he's a DNP, then we'll have to keep a closer eye on it.
Very accurate, and we will have to keep a closer eye on it if that is the case. But as of right now, we don't know. And Ambry Thomas is trending in a better direction. Yesterday, Kyle talked about how he was feeling better at the moment. He was looking better. He was definitely closer than he was. But as of right now, there are no new updates on Ambry other than he's looking better than he was on Sunday. So as of now, nothing really new there in that front. But Ant, there was some new information we keep talking about. And David Campbell just said it. Red Tide and SoFi this weekend. We kept talking about how we kept seeing on the Twitter timelines. Bought my tickets, see you at SoFi. Got my tickets, see you at SoFi. Got my tickets, see you all at SoFi.
It's almost ridiculous, yeah.
It's redundant. It's repetitive. It's over and over and over. And it's like, well, maybe these are just people trolling. Maybe it's just bots. Well, I forget what ticket company it was, but someone has been tracking. They've been tracking these all season long. They said the last time a team tried to do something like this was the Titans against the Bengals. They tried to keep Bengals fans out of Tennessee and failed to do so. Bengals fans showed up, I think, at like 45% at the stadium. The Niners, in Week 18, took over SoFi. They literally did. 60% of the fans that were at SoFi were 49ers fans. As of this point in time, right now, as it currently constitutes, they are predicting 65% faithful 49ers fans at SoFi. So a 5% increase over the last one. Is it safe to say at this point that maybe the barring of the 49ers fans trying to prevent them from showing up may have backfired on the Los Angeles Rams?
Yeah, that's not a good idea. I think anytime that you try to tell somebody they can't come, they're going to automatically want to be there. And I think what it did too was it kind of showed that maybe there was a little bit of fear there. And the 49ers faithful smelled fear. Now they're going to show up and they're going to all be wearing red. This is something that's been building. The 49ers faithful travel better than any other fan base in pro football, and they're going to show up in a big way in this game. And 65% means, yeah, you better have your silent counts ready if you're the Rams, because that place is going to be rocking. And the fact that now everyone knows that they're afraid of it, the fact that Stafford's wife had went on the radio show and said, hey, we played in Detroit. It's never been like this. That means the 49ers faithful is going to be louder than ever. The NFC Championship game is going to be intense. This is big. The faithful's big for showing up, and yeah, it's exciting to think about. It could be 65%. Who knows? By the time it gets to Sunday, it could be more than that, because I know some people are waiting, hoping the prices are going to go down.
Yeah, some people are waiting, hoping the price is going to go down. And listen, the closer and closer you get to those types of, closer and closer you get to game time, there are going to be people who are desperate to get rid of their ticket, try and make some sort of profit on it, who don't want to go to the football game, or fans of another team that bought tickets just hoping to capitalize on the frenzy of 49ers and Rams fans. They're learning they can't capitalize on the frenzy of Rams fans, but you can capitalize potentially on the frenzy of 49ers fans. And you know what, Ant? I don't really care. I mean, go ahead and capitalize on the frenzy of 49ers fan. If you're going to let us take over your home stadium and let us have home field advantage on your turf, I don't think that bodes well for you.
No, I mean, what was the point of winning the division if you're not going to have home field in your own stadium? The 49ers are going to take over the carport, and they're going to do a big thing there. I think this is good news for the 49ers, and that atmosphere is going to be intense. This is a rivalry, but there's a lot of transplants that are 49er fans in LA. So, I mean, it was already going to be a nice contingent, but when they poked the bear, the faithful responded in a big way. I'm so proud of all these people that are going to show up. They're all going to wear red. They're going to red out that place. And it's gonna be an intense atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the Niners, forcing the 49ers faithful, forcing the Rams into some precarious situations.
Definitely want to see that, and I want to see some precarious situations for that Rams team. And D-Real PK3 says, were you guys surprised Jeff Wilson hasn't been used more? Once Mitchell came back, I thought he looked good and always seems to do well. Look, I think it's pretty obvious. Jeff Wilson Jr. looked good in the couple of games that he played with no Elijah Mitchell. Like later in the season, we got the 100-yard rushing game. I believe wasn't it against the Rams in Week 10?
It could have been.
I think it was.
I don't remember exactly.
I think it was. But anyway, Jeff Wilson has looked good at times, but he hasn't looked consistently good. You can tell that he's not quite back yet from the knee. This is something we weren't even expecting Jeff Wilson to be back, and the original thought process and plan was possibly late December. So he's probably just getting to a point now where his legs are starting to get back underneath him, and he's starting to feel anything close to what he was before. That's a good thing for the 49ers, but it's also not necessarily needed at the moment. If Jeff Wilson's ever able to get back to that and demonstrate that to Kyle Shanahan practice, the run game is going to take an even bigger uptick in production. Because if you're able to add what Jeff Wilson was in the 2020 campaign and what he added in spurts in 2019 in terms of the physicality with his running, and pair that with Elijah Mitchell, and then pair that with Deebo Samuel, that's a problem. But at the moment, you don't necessarily need it. You have Elijah Mitchell running the way he's running, seeing the field, understanding where he's supposed to go, and getting upfield when he's supposed to, putting his foot in the ground and getting upfield, cutting back across the grain when he should. And then you have Deebo Samuel, who is one of the best running backs in all of football, which is crazy because he's also one of the best wide receivers in all of football.
And that's why Jeff Wilson Jr. is not needed to carry the ball. Deebo Samuel does what Jeff Wilson Jr. does at a higher clip. He has explosive plays, but is yet bigger than Jeff Wilson Jr. and still has those physical runs. It was Deebo Samuel that closed out the Green Bay Packers with a wonderful run at the end of the football game. So that's why he's just not needed. You can roll with two guys. Kyle Shanahan has often went with this sort of a system. In 2019, he did the same exact thing where he got it down to Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert. They were the guys that were carrying the ball consistently in the playoffs. And I think that's what they're going to roll with right now. It's going to be Elijah Mitchell. It's going to be Deebo Samuel. You can count on both of them to secure the football. Both of them have dynamic speed where they can, once they're outside, they can make something big happen. And both of them have tremendous vision, even better than Jeff Wilson Jr. Jeff Wilson Jr. is a good back. He's definitely a step slower than the other guys that are ahead of him. But if you need a tough yard, if you need some tough carries, or if you need someone to go in there and block, he can do that. But right now, he's also dealing with an ankle sprain. It's a low ankle sprain, but we'll see how much that limits him. It did knock him out of the Green Bay game. So that's something to keep an eye on. I mean, there's a possibility that he won't even be active for this game. It could be Trey Sermon. We'll see.
That could be the case, and it could very well be Trey Sermon. That is something that could happen, especially with him dealing with a low ankle injury and coming off of a knee injury. Lower body stuff that can flare things up and make things a little bit harder there. I also saw, someone had asked, Brett Boyle asked, I'm waiting until the ticket prices go down too. Are either of you guys attending the game? No, because if we attend the game, we're not going to be able to do all of the content and all the things that we do post-game that we typically do. We're looking into this being something we do next year, going to a couple more games, having some situations where maybe we can meet up and do stuff with Cutback crew members and Faithful and all that. But as of right now, we don't have the ability to take everything on the road with us and be able to put the same level of production together. So we're looking into that. But it's okay, because while we may not be at the game, we'll be there in spirit, number one. We're going to be supporting everyone who wants to go, number two. And we'll be putting together a post-game show regardless, win or lose, of this game and this season for the 49ers, and hopefully it's a big win.
Yeah, I mean, some things have to change in my personal life as far as work goes.
That's also accurate.
Yeah, work is still a real thing, and I still work at night on...
still have responsibilities?
I still have responsibilities, but, I think that's a plan in the future that we can get to some games. We can go out there and join some of this. I mean, John Chapman wanted us to come out for the first the first game in LA with his rush road trip, and we'd have loved to have done that, but I told John, with my work schedule the way it is, I just can't make it out there right now. We had some changes, so I'm looking forward to doing some of that in the future. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So, but yeah, I'm very supportive of everyone that's going. I want everyone to go, and by God, I wish I was there, but I'm just not able to at this point.
Not quite yet, Ant. We're not quite there yet, but we'll get there. Don't worry about that. Bomber T, do you guys think Stafford will have a better game against our fresh D line? Seems like Armstead and Bosa are really peaking right now. I don't think he's going to have a better game. I don't think better game is in the cards for Stafford.
He can't play better than he did in the first half of Week 18.
True.
In Week 18, Matthew Stafford in the first half was absolutely lights out. I mean, the dude was hitting on all cylinders. I mean, the touchdown passes. Converting on third down was huge. Now, the stat, though, right? The huge stat is that the 49ers got after Stafford in 2.26 seconds. That's how fast they got to him. And the league average is 2.30 for release time. So they're getting to him faster than they can even get the ball out. That's a huge stat, though. So the 49ers can definitely get after him. And I think that was the big difference in the second half, is it felt like once the defensive line got after him and he started feeling the pressure, that he started struggling a little bit, forcing some throws. I mean, he would just see a blitz and then go sidearm and throw it out there. The one time he had Van Jefferson on Samson Ebukam, but got rid of the football and missed a wide open receiver on the other side because the blitz got after him.
Correct. That is very true. Look, if you're getting at a quarterback at 2.2 seconds and the league average is 2.3 for release, I think Jimmy Garoppolo was like 2.28 in a couple of games, and Aaron Rodgers, we saw it like a 2.3 at one point in time as well for a nice stretch of games. I mean, that's not a lot of time. And that's just for the release, folks. That doesn't include the drop back and everything else that you factor into it as well. If the Niners can continue getting after him that way, in that fashion, oh boy, big yikes for Matt Stafford. That's going to be a tough call and a tough order. And that is a crazy stat that you just brought up right there.
Yeah.
I like that one. Raheem said the media is putting way too much stock into the Lambs win over the Bucks. Niners defensive team speed is overwhelming. Better than the Bucks. TB12 does not make a team. In Ward and Tart, we trust. I like that little ending there. And there's also big differences between what the Bucks are and what the Niners are. Yeah, there's front similarities and even linebacker similarities in terms of strengths, but there is huge weaknesses in the secondary. I mean, glaring weaknesses in the secondary. And the Bucks don't necessarily have the speed up front. They have big-bodied guys, but I don't know if they're necessarily explosive and quick in their front four.
Yeah, it's a different animal. And the 49ers run the ball a lot better than Tampa Bay did.
And he ran it 14 times,
If Tampa Bay would have ran the football the way they ran it last season, they would have kept their defense off the field as much, which meant they would have been fresher to get after the quarterback. And what did the Rams do in that game? They left the door wide open for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to walk right through it. If Tom and that offense actually would have capitalized on a couple of the other drives that they had, we wouldn't be talking about playing the Rams. We'd be talking about playing Tampa Bay because that door got left wide open. So I think that, the Rams are a good football team, but they've been prone to make mistakes. You just have to make sure you capitalize on those mistakes. And the 49ers are built different than Tampa Bay. It's not the same animal. It's completely different. You can't really put any stock into it, but I understand what he's saying. The media, of course, right now, the 49ers haven't beat anyone, according to the media. Right now, it's the Cowboys lost. and the Green Bay Packers lost because of Aaron Rodgers. It had nothing to do with the 49ers. The 49ers are just there. And I hope they continue that narrative. Let's just let the 49ers be there, beat the Rams, and then get to the Super Bowl. And then they can just be there against Patrick Mahomes or against Joe Burrow, because we know those will be the stories. Yep. They're always going to get glazed over, and that's okay, because in 1984, Joe Montana was, put under a stone because Dan Marino was the big-time player, and they had the show offense, and they were the big-time team. They got absolutely handled. So sometimes it doesn't matter who's the favorites or who's the most talked about. Somebody's going to be talked about in the end, and you just hope it's the Niners.
Let's hope that's the case. And the 49er insider, how underrated is K1 Williams in your opinion? Is this for the secondary? That's the first question he had. I wanted to talk about that one first because we actually heard some content creators, this week talking about K1 and how he can't be guarding anyone one-on-one anymore because he's gotten toasted a couple times in the last 2 games. Toasted against Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper in one-on-one coverage. And I don't know about toasted, but I mean, he got beaten in some of those situations. Yeah. Are we going to knock K1 Williams for getting beat by 2 of the better wide receivers in back-to-back week on 1 snap?
No. Number one, Devontae Adams beat him on a great route, and Devontae Adams is that guy. And he got a first down. That's great. 3 yards. Wonderful. Amari Cooper beat him on the touchdown. That's 100% accurate. He did that. That was great. You know what else K1 Williams did in those games? In the Cowboys game, he had an interception. Makes up for the touchdown. In this last game, he had one where he drove on the football and almost had another interception against Aaron Rodgers, a key knockaway, a key batted ball. I think that K1 Williams responds. You're gonna get beat as a corner. The thing is, you just can't consistently get beat, and I don't think those 2 times prove that he's gotten beat. So I do think that he's very underrated. The other areas where he adds is when you're a nickel, he can do all the run fits that he needs to do. He's a great blitzer off the edge. He's made a lot of big plays for the 49ers, and he's a veteran that understands where he needs to be and where he needs to go at every single moment. So to me, Shark is one of those guys that is very much undervalued by everyone, and I think that the fans are the ones who love him the most, but he's undervalued especially by the NFL brass.
Oh, definitely by the NFL brass. And this is why we keep saying we don't know if there's going to be a market for K1 Williams because we think the Niners value him the most.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of the NFL doesn't value him the same way, which may end up being a nice thing for the 49ers. Des Cobra had asked a question. We'll get to the second part of your question here in a second, Niner Insider. But Des Cobra basically wanted to know if the Niners should be sticking it out with D Ford and taking a chance on him going into next year because he believes he's still on the roster. He's just on IR currently, so he's not taking up that roster spot. Should the Niners be rolling with him going forward? And you and I have had this conversation a lot. So Des Cobra, if you're new here, we've actually discussed this quite a bit. And there's the question right there now on the screen. It doesn't do it. You're not going to save a lot of money moving off of D Ford.
Right.
The only way you save money is if he decides to retire and you come to some sort of retirement settlement with him in which you're able to push money out and save some money, every year over the next however many years you decide to push that money out. However, that also is going to eat into your cap down the road as well, however much you're supposed to pay him those years down the road. If D Ford can give you something, it's better than nothing, right? And we saw even this year early on, D Ford looked healthy, looked good. We saw the impact. We saw the speed. We saw him coming off the edge. We saw him getting after the quarterback. We saw some sacks. We saw some impact. We saw some production. That production is better than nothing out of D Ford.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. Financially, it doesn't make a lot of sense to move off of him because you just don't save the money. The 49ers went out and they made sure that they got the team together to insulate themselves in case D Ford couldn't go. They've prepared for life without D Ford, and then D Ford restructured his contract to give the 49ers some financial ability to get other guys. But also, now he was in basically a 2-year deal. So this next year is a deal that they're probably not going to be able to get out of. I don't see an extension coming. I honestly don't see him retiring. I think he's going to try to play. They're going to have to try to figure out how to manage him. I think we just got to think of him as the cherry on top, right? We got a nice ice cream sundae of great talent on the defensive line. He's just the cherry on top. If he's playing, it's great for the defense. If he's not, that's okay. You don't have to have that cherry. So we'll see. But I think that I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't hold him out of several games next year if he does make the roster. Maybe even start him off on IR and bring him out late. I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to play again, but I think he's going to give it a try. And we're kind of locked in on that contract.
We definitely are kind of locked into that contract. So whatever you can get out of a man is what you want to try and get. And if you can get something, it's great. And if you don't get anything, then it kind of is what it is. And you're already in that position anyway. So how much more damage can it really do? Niner Insider's second part of his question was, do you guys think Lance has a smidgen of a chance to play? Only if Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt. That is about it, my guy.
Yeah, I don't think we see Trey in the NFC Championship game at all. minus a severe injury on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think I said this maybe like a couple times now, is that I believe maybe in the Super Bowl you could possibly see Trey Lance in a certain package or whatever, because you have 2 weeks to prepare. There's always some sort of trick plays, something that the other team maybe not prepared for. And if you run it in like one circumstance, it won't get Kyle Shanahan off rhythm. He'll understand where he's going with things. I think you could see him there, but I don't believe you're going to see him this week. I think this is Jimmy's game to win.
100%. This is on Jimmy to get us there. And if you get to the Super Bowl, then you have when you get to the Super Bowl, regardless of who you're playing, you're back now in that situation. And the difference is now is that you have the additional weapon in Trey Lance that you can now unleash, that you haven't really done. You haven't really utilized. So if there was ever a time for Kyle Shanahan to pull out all the stops and actually utilize the Shanahan plan like we thought we were going to see all season long, it would be that game, not this one. You don't want to have to play your cards unless you're absolutely put in that position. And the only reason you're going to play the Trey Lance card is if Jimmy Garoppolo can't go get it done for you. That's it. If he's injured, incapable of going out in the field and being the quarterback you need him to be, then you'll see Trey Lance. Until that time comes, don't expect it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this was always the plan, right? Jimmy was the one that was going to be at the helm because this was a playoff caliber, Super Bowl caliber football team. And I think now it's been proven that that's what it is. They're a playoff, definitely a Super Bowl caliber team, and he's at the helm. They feel comfortable with him running Kyle Shanahan's offense because he knows everything that needs to be known about this offense. He can put him in the right positions, whether it's in the run game or in the pass game, and that's what you need right now. I mean, the eventual goal is for Trey Lance to take over this football team, but they definitely went in with a thought process like, we can win with a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo. And right now, Jimmy is healthy enough. He's still not healthy. I think we're forgetting a lot of times that he has the shoulder and he has the thumb, but he's healthy enough to
It's not a lower body injury.
That's right. If it was a lower body injury, it could be terrible.
Correct.
Yeah.
Really bad. Sack Francisco Ant with a great one here. D-line going for 10 sacks on Matthew. Pick 6 Stafford, all in quotations. I can't wait for a while that's bold this week.
Yeah. He's the thing with him is if they get after him early, he's going to start forcing throws.
Yes.
So you're going to have some opportunities in the back end. The 49ers are going to have to capitalize on those opportunities. You have to be ball hawks in the secondary. Play your role, but when the ball comes your way, you gotta go ahead and pick it off because Stafford always gives teams opportunities. It's when you don't capitalize that he gets another opportunity and he can do some damage himself. So take those chances, get after him, and when he makes a mistake, capitalize.
Very true. Anthony, the sixth here. I always butcher that, Anthony. My apologies. Media giving credit to the Rams for bringing in Weddle. Thoughts?
I think it was a good move for the alternative. I mean, they're without Rapp. So what are you going to do? You're going to play one of these guys that, they don't have the depth. That's why I question a little bit when the media talks about the Rams are a better roster. They don't have the depth the Niners do. The Niners had other safeties they could bring in, whether that was Hufanga, who they drafted, Tavon Wilson, who they had signed. To me, it just was a move that needed to be made. He's played admirably. I don't think he's playing at the all-pro level that he used to play at. Eric Weddle was a very good player, but I think it was a solid move that they needed to make at the time. But I don't think that he's going to be a difference maker in this game. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I still think he's a matchup issue because George Kittle and these guys getting up the seam is still going to be a problem for Weddle, and I don't think he's enough of a run stopper to be able to prevent the 49ers run game from getting going.
Absolutely. It's going to be very interesting. But speaking of injuries, Ant, and Rams injuries and specifically, you talked about Taylor Rapp. Reports coming out that Rapp are essentially, Rapp is looking like he's on track to play, as is left tackle Andrew Whitworth. Both guys are on track to play. However, Sebastian Joseph Day, Robert Rochelle, and Darrell Henderson Jr. are 3 players who have returned to practice but have yet to be activated in their practice window going. So they are doing minor things at the facility. As of right now, though, it doesn't look like they're going to be necessarily active. And even if they are active, doesn't necessarily mean that their window will open and they'll be good to go for this game. Of those guys they just talked about, there is one guy who potentially has a chance. That would be rookie linebacker Ernest Jones. And McVay seems very excited about getting him into the fold with the defense. It's a guy who hasn't played a whole lot this year. It's a rookie linebacker. They'd be counting on a rookie linebacker to come in a big way and have success against this 49. I know you're laughing. Mm-hmm. Why is that funny to you? Because some people were like, well, maybe this guy's a stud. We just don't know. Where'd they take him at? What round was it?
You know what? I hope he does. I hope he's the guy that they're counting on. He's the linchpin that Trent Williams can go absolutely demolish on the second level. No, that is not going to make the difference. This guy, this rookie linebacker is not that guy. If you were telling me they're getting Sebastian Day back, okay, that's fine. If they're getting Henderson back, that's something that is noticeable. Whitworth is going to make a difference. Well done. Get him back. That's great. Robert Rochelle, he's okay. He's good. But no, the linebacker, I'm glad McVay's excited about it. You got another body to get in there and get ran over by this run game. No, he's not really excited. He's just putting it out there.
He's saying
he's grasping at straws right now. Come on.
The most tackles he has in a game this season is 11. 11 is the most in a single game. He didn't start playing until week 6. No, I mean, maybe in the past game he does have 2 interceptions on the season. So I mean, I guess there's that. He's got a handful of pass defense, so maybe he's excited for the pass game opportunities there. But if you're worried about the pass game with the 49ers and not finding a way to not let them rush the football 40 times, you got bigger problems, Sean McVay.
Way better linebackers the last 2 weeks. No. They got, the linebacker room is definitely a problem from them. So, I'm sure he's a little bit of an improvement over who they got, but that's not saying a lot. So maybe he is excited about the fact that, we're going from what we got to that, but the 49ers run game can get after him. It's all going to be about that defensive line.
He played at South Carolina, so maybe he's just familiar with Debo.
We'll see.
He's the Debo stopper.
Does he want to get familiar with Debo? I don't think he wants to get familiar with Debo.
I don't think he does either. Yeah. We'll see what happens though. We'll see what happens in that category. Sean asked, "Do we get Hurst back?" Hurst has been back. He's just been a healthy scratch, healthy and active.
Yeah, he's inactive. They're rolling with a 9-man rotation on the defensive line, and he's the 10th guy. That's what you have going right now. The question will be, do they feel that Hurst can outplay Kentavious Street or Kevin Givens? So far, they've been willing to roll with Givens and Street. The problem with Givens and Street is last week they were going against double teams the whole time. And we saw this all throughout the year, that sometimes they struggle against double teams. DJ Jones and Eric Armstead not only can anchor down and hold their ground, but sometimes can actually penetrate and get through it. They can get skinny and make their play. That is something we haven't seen. Maurice Hurst adds in athletic ability. This is something we talked about, though. Could the 49ers possibly roll with 10 defensive linemen in this game? He could. So we'll see what they decide. I don't think they will, for the mere fact that the Rams, running game is not something that has scared them in the past, and they're pretty healthy along the defensive line minus Jordan Willis. But he proved that he could play through the ankle injury that he has.
He did prove that, which is a huge thing for the 49ers, so we'll see what happens. Ulysses Hernandez, Matthew Stafford is going to choke and play mediocre like he did in Detroit. Stafford nowhere near a top 10 QB. He had himself a nice game last week, and this is the thing with Matthew Stafford. He is capable of putting up big numbers, big plays, flipping a game on one throw. He can definitely do those things. It's all about getting after him. It's all about taking away some of the easy early reads for him and disguising those coverages, something that D'Amico Ryans has done very well all season long, whether it was week 3 against Aaron Rodgers or later in the season. He's been doing it for a very long time. The Niners have been having a lot of success, and it's been a whole heck of a lot easier for him since the Niners started putting 7 in the box and only trying to stop the run with 7, and not trying, but successfully doing snap in and snap out for 4 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford came out and maybe had one of the best halves he had in the entire season in week 18. I mean, the guy looked like he was lights out. And if you get that Matthew Stafford, the Rams are going to be hard to beat. The problem is it wasn't sustainable. He couldn't keep it going for 4 quarters. And that's the thing. You're going to have to get more than 2 quarters of that great Matthew Stafford out of them to be able to beat the 49ers, because they stuck with the run. They ran the ball even though they weren't getting any positive yardage, just to keep it honest, keep it real. And then he was converting on 3rd downs. What flipped the script was the 49ers kept stopping the run, and then Matthew Stafford couldn't convert those 3rd downs. As soon as the 3rd down efficiency changed, then the 49ers were getting off the field, getting the offense the ball more, and that changed the game. So early in that game, he was he was hitting Cup and really getting it done on 3rd down. Once that changed, the whole entire complexity of the game changed.
It definitely did. It 100% did. And Ernest Batley said, and mentioned a little bit earlier about this Rams team, he said something to the effect of, the Rams feel like a team with a lot of names and not a lot of depth. And you're right. They are a team with a lot of names and not a lot of depth. Once you get past the names and the main key guys, the main key pieces in the cogs, there's holes. There's holes there, and they're dealing with a lot of those holes in the secondary. Now, if they get Rapp back, that's one less hole, but your other safety is still out. He's not there, and you're rolling with Eric Weddle. So, I mean, you're not 100% healthy. The cornerback play last week got exposed by the Rams because you had Jalen Ramsey getting beat by Mike Evans, who is one of the better wide receivers in all of football.
He's good, yeah.
Absolutely. But your other side was getting torched by Scotty Miller.
Yeah.
Scotty Miller.
Yeah, the problem, he sounds like he should be playing point guard for, the
Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Literally.
I was going to say Valdosta, but who knows?
Oh, okay. That's a good one, too.
I think that what we got here with the Rams is they have also another problem is locating where Deebo Samuel's going to be. I think in a perfect world, they'd love to put Jalen Ramsey on Deebo Samuel and take him away. The problem is Deebo Samuel can line up in the slot. He can line up outside. He can line up in the backfield. And if he's in the backfield, you don't want Jalen Ramsey monstered on him. You don't want him, going with him. Was he going to be standing in the middle of the field waiting to see where Tebow goes? The other thing you had from the Rams was they knew in run fits that they could not stop the 49ers without committing these DBs and safeties and corners
they
helping stop the run.
It's like 10 to 11 in the box, it feels like.
Yeah, and when they did, then the 49ers took advantage. They had the Jawan Jennings, pass down the field. There's going to be play action things that come off of that. So will the Rams early on be afraid that that's going to happen? I think they will. They'll see these crack blocks that Jawan Jennings and them are making, and these corners are going to have to stay outside a little bit longer. It's going to give 49ers a little bit more windows to run through on the outside. It's something to keep an eye on. It's all going to be about that edge. If the 49ers can, win on the edge, they can definitely get this run game going.
They definitely can. It's funny. I just saw I saw David V. Bet you he won't run onto the field again. He talked about Sean McVay running into the end zone to celebrate. See, David, this is where I think you're wrong on this. It's very apparent watching Kyle Shanahan coach, watching LaFleur coach, and watching McVay coach. Watching them coach each other, their competitiveness comes out. You can see it manifesting itself in different ways. In week 3, you saw LaFleur with the F those guys on the sideline after they went down and scored an early touchdown and started to build a little bit of a lead. You see McVay, right, taking the McVayness, the energy level he has, the running up and down sidelines, running into the tunnel with his hand up with Deshaun Jackson after a big play. It goes to a whole nother level because he didn't just run down the field like towards the end zone out of bounds. He ran it on the field of play into the end zone with his guys to celebrate. These guys want to take it to each other badly. They want to get it over on the other guy. There's a big connection, and these guys know each other very well. But Kyle's had a lot of success against McVay. And up until the last handful of meetings against the Green Bay before this playoff matchup, Kyle had gotten it over on LaFleur for the most part. You got him in 2019, the 2 times that you faced him, and those ended up being huge wins. And the Niners got to the Super Bowl because of it. Can they do it one more time? Can they do it again? Can Kyle get one more up on Sean? I think you and I both believe they can. And the video tomorrow, our daily video at 11 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, is going to dive a little bit more into why the Niners have had that 6-0 success. But I expect Sean McVay to be Sean McVay. I expect him to run up and down the field, jumping for joy, obnoxious celebrations, his get-back coach having him trying to get him back off the sideline and off the field at times. I'm expecting this. I'm expecting a lot of energy from both teams. I'm expecting SoFi to be crazy loud with 49ers fans and somewhat loud with Rams fans. Hopefully, if you get it to 75% faithful, get that number from 65 to 75, well, then you just drown out the noise of the Rams fans and it doesn't matter.
I think that David V is right. I think that he's going to be on the sidelines.
I don't think he's his best behavior?
No, I don't think he's going to have the opportunity to have those celebrations.
Ooh, okay.
I think the 49ers are going to get after the Rams, and I think that the Rams are going to be playing from behind a little bit. I think that's what's going to change this game a little bit. I think the 49ers are going to come out and excel early on. I think it's going to be a little bit of a far cry from Week 18. I think the momentum is in the 49ers' favor here. I think the Rams are going to put a lot of pressure on themselves, and then when they get out there and they see all the faithful in the crowd, they're going to feel like, why is this happening again? There's just going to be a negative connotation that's going on. I think that the McVay is going to be very tempered. I think he thought that they were ending Kyle Shanahan. I think he bought into.
I think you're right.
I think he was drinking the Kool-Aid, as it would be. That he was going to go ahead and.
It was unsweetened.
It was unsweetened. He was going to go. He was going to be the one that finished off Kyle Shanahan. This was going to be the one, right? You may have been 5-0 against me, Kyle, but I just knocked you out of the playoffs. I just ended your season, and that's where he was excited. The problem was he forgot there was 2 halves. So he won't make that mistake again. Now, if they are to win, I'm sure you'll see a very exuberant Sean McVay towards the end of that football game. I just don't think he's going to have the opportunity to do so.
And I think you're right as well. I think we've been watching film again. We're watching a lot of stuff this week in preparation, and it does feel like that is sort of happening. Donald Johnson said, "Do you think the Niners defense will have another 5-sack game this game?" I think it's entirely possible. I think they can. But here's the thing. We might surprise some folks. When the 49ers have beaten the Rams, it hasn't always been because they've sacked the quarterback. It really hasn't. There's a handful of games when the Niners have 0 sacks against the Rams in the last 6 matchups and have still won. So do you have to sack the quarterback to necessarily beat the Rams? I don't think so. If you get out to an early lead, that's going to change a lot of things. If you're able to just pressure Matt Stafford and hit him a couple of times, he's going to start making mistakes. He's going to start stepping up in the pocket, throwing on the run. But here's the thing. Sacks are drive killers for the Rams. You sack them and put them in 2nd and long, 3rd and 15s, things of that nature, or you stuff them on first down run. They try and get fancy with the timing route. You take it away, and Stafford has to kind of pump and hold on to that thing, and you're able to hit him. It starts getting that it throws that internal clock way off. And you talked about week 18. It was 2.3 seconds, I think it was, to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Or 2.2.
2.26.
And the average release time is 2.3. Your internal clock is basically non-functional. You can't rely on the internal clock, because the internal clock tells you I can take 3 steps, plant, throw. And now it's, by the time you're getting to your 3rd step, there's a hand on you. You're like, what the heck is going on? And so now you're off your game. You're going to start looking for specific guys and specific players. And if the Niners are bracketing at the right times, understanding the concept and know what the route is and are able to take that thing away, well, now you're just in a world of hurt if you're Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, one of the advantages of having a veteran quarterback is that they can make the reads before the snap. The pre-snap reads are so important. However, with the way that DeMeco Ryans calls defense, he disguises things to the utmost degree. So now you're talking about a defensive line that gets to the quarterback at 2.26 seconds against the Rams in the last game, and Matthew Stafford is by average standards, gets the ball out at 2.3 seconds. That means they're getting to him before he could possibly get it out. In those 3 seconds, how long did he have a chance to decipher what the defense was? Not a lot of time. So I don't think it comes down to as much as sacks, as even though sacks are drive killers. It comes down to pressures. If you're getting after him consistently, he's going to turn over the football. He's going to make mistakes. He's not going to be able to convert on 3rd down. You're going to get off the field. That's what you need to do. Consistently get after him. Make him feel the pressure, because we've all seen when Matthew Stafford feels the pressure, he's not as cool as a cucumber back there. He eats things up. He makes a little bit of mistakes. He throws balls into the ground. And those are all things that could benefit the 49ers, especially with an attacking defense. And it could just get into his head. So you just got to continually get after him. It's got to be relentless. Relentless pressure from this defensive line. And then DeMeco Ryans, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let him figure out the pre-snap reads. And if you do, he's going to struggle.
Purette here. Is Trent going to play, or do you all think we're not going to have him? Last game against the Lambs, we didn't have him either. Look, I think Trent's playing.
Yeah.
I think barring, something happening and him re-aggravating it during the week in practice, which is going to be a very limited chance for him to do so because he's not going to get a whole lot of practice reps this week. He's going to do limited work all week long. Barring anything like that happening to Trent Williams, he's playing this weekend. Biggest game of his career. Last week was the biggest one, and now this week is. And if you win it again, the one after that will be the biggest game of his career. These are all opportunities that Trent Williams wanted. Why he came to San Francisco. That's why he signed the extension and the contract that he signed. That's why he's here. He's here to win championships. He's here to take it over the top, and he's here to do it with Kyle Shanahan in this roster. So if Trent can go, if he can put his foot in the ground and push off and do what he needs to do and be 75% of the Trent Williams we know and love, then he's still the best left tackle in all of football.
Yeah, I think he knows he needs to be up. And he wants to make it to the Super Bowl. And he knows he's going to have 2 weeks off after this game to recover and get a little bit better. So you're going to give these guys the best effort, whether they're healthy or not. They're going to be out there giving everything they got. And I think Trent's going to want to be on the field. As long as he's physically able to handle that pain, he's going to be out there. So pain threshold is the key to this, and pain tolerance. If he can handle it, he'll be out there and he'll be playing as well as he can, because he was injured in the end of that game. And you know what happened? Jimmy Garoppolo was still able to get the ball out to the receivers he needed to get to, and they were able to win that game. So I'm optimistic. Of course, this is something that we need to watch all week. Going to start tomorrow with the way practice is going to be going again. We'll just see if he's out there in a limited capacity, if he's do not practice, what Kyle Shanahan says in his presser. All those things will start giving us an idea of where they're sitting with Trent Williams.
True. David Campbell, if I was the Rams, I would line up Von Miller on Compton every passing down.
Please do. When you put Von Miller on Tom Compton every passing down, then you know where Von Miller's going to be. And if he's always going to line up there, you can chip him. You can do things to help. If they're going to, the other thing they could do is put Von Miller and Aaron Donald on the same side. I mean, that could afford you some problems.
The problem is, do you want to put him on Daddy Brunskill?
Well, the problem is in that case, okay, let him come in on Tom Compton. Let him beat Compton and run a screen. You can find other ways to go around it, but knowing where a guy is going to be can actually make it more, I guess, easier reads and an easier way to handle it. So yeah, if you want to put him on him the whole time, that's good for them. Now the way he's going to beat he can beat Compton.
Correct.
The problem was last time when we played, he went against Colton McKivitz the whole game, and he beat Colton McKivitz twice. So Colton McKivitz held up enough to only give up 2 sacks. I would like to think Tom Compton can hold up and only give up 1 sack.
Agreed. And Pure Ed, Welcome to the Cutback crew.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. And any new viewers out there, do the same. Hit that subscribe button. Join the live Q&A in the chat right now and ask any questions you want. We're going to answer anything. Anything that you guys put in there about the 49ers Rams matchup, we want to discuss with you. So we'll see what happens here. And I would be shocked, and if they don't try and test Lincoln Tomlinson some more, because it looked like Aaron Donald the last time had some success against Lincoln. So I think that's going to be something to keep an eye on this whole game, is Lincoln Tomlinson and how he's able to hold up against Aaron Donald, because he seemed to be the one that Aaron found some success against. It wasn't on the other side.
Well,
now
the problem was you didn't have the chemistry because you didn't have Trent Williams.
Correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was going to be the thing I was going to say next. And you're right. The chemistry with those two is phenomenal. When those two are there, I mean, the Niners, what is it? Like almost 9 yards a carry when you're rushing behind Trent Williams and Lincoln Tomlinson.
Yeah, I think you feel a lot of pressure if you're Lincoln Tomlinson to be able to give help to Colton McKivitz. So that changes the game a little bit. So I think you just having Trent Williams out there is going to be a big piece. They're not going to line Aaron Donald out on Trent Williams and try to run interior stunts, because Lincoln Tomlinson will know an interior stunt's coming, because if you're going to rush Aaron Donald against Trent Williams, advantage 49ers. So what David Campbell was saying about lining up on Tom Compton, it always sounds good. The problem is when you know where a defender's going to be, you can scheme to take advantage of that guy. That's why if Jalen Ramsey's always going to go with one player, like if they decide he's going to take George Kittle out, now you can put him away from everybody else and attack. So sometimes knowing where defenders is going to be, no matter how good they are, even if they're taking away an offensive piece, it's kind of like chess. Okay, you're going to take away a piece. That's great. But now I have these other pieces that I can use, and you've eliminated your queen on another piece. That is good for the 49ers. So knowing the location of a defender pre-snap is definitely advantage 49ers.
It definitely is. And if you know that someone like Jalen Ramsey is going to be blanketing George Kittle, then you can also put the 49ers and Jalen Ramsey in a position where you force Jalen Ramsey to play in the box.
Yeah.
Have fun making tackles, Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey does not want to play in the box. And in fact, both games this year where he played against the 49ers, he was frustrated by the third quarter because they weren't throwing at him. He wasn't involved in the game plan, and he was having to try to come up and make tackles. He does not want to come up there and consistently mix it up, with Deebo Samuel, with Elijah Mitchell, and these physical guys, and he definitely doesn't want to get blocked by a pulling lineman or George Kittle.
Accurate. And Shooter asked a little bit ago, does this season feel like the 1988 season when the Niners went 10-6 and won the Super Bowl?
Since you weren't alive, I'll take this one.
You should, because I wasn't alive. I have highlights to go off of. Yeah. I don't have actual experience with the motions of said season.
And yes, this mirrors 1988 so much. Not just the fact, the feeling, the way the media was acting, is this Bill Walsh? Is he done? Has he lost his magic? You had the quarterback, decisions and stuff. Should they go with Steve Young? Should it be Joe Montana? Steve Young playing games because Joe Montana's hurt. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities going. I think one of the craziest things is they started that season, the end of that season they played the Bengals. The Bengals are still active right now and could possibly be in the Super Bowl. If this season mirrored 88 the way it has right now, similar record, and then getting through the playoffs, and then if they end up playing the Bengals, that would just be crazy. I mean, it's just one of those things. But yeah, all the feels of 1988 are real.
It really, really is, Ant. They're real. I don't understand the feels, but I know about them. I've heard about them. Words of Wisdom said, join late. Update on Thomas and Williams. No updates. Nothing new. No new information has come out on them. We did talk about the fact that you have Whitworth and Taylor Rapp who are trending towards being able to play for the Rams, and them getting back a rookie linebacker they drafted in the third round out of South Carolina this year, Ernest Jones, and that apparently exciting Sean McVay, or at least him saying it. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But Bomber asked, do you guys think Jimmy's injuries have improved? I feel like he's going to have a big game. They haven't gotten worse. Because if they had gotten worse, you'd be looking at a situation where Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan would be talking about how we're not sure who's starting. Jimmy would be saying, we're going to see. I don't know. I'm not feeling too great. I may not be able to go this week. Those conversations would be being had. But because those conversations aren't being had, we're not hearing that or seeing that. That means that Jimmy hasn't re-aggravated anything, which means Jimmy is as healthy as he's going to be at this point in time, and it's good enough. Here's a stat for the Cutback crew. I told you this pre-show off air.
Yeah.
In 2019, in the divisional round, Jimmy Garoppolo was 11 of 19 for 131 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception against the Minnesota Vikings. In 2021, in the divisional round against the Green Bay Packers, Jimmy Garoppolo was 11 of 19 for 131 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. It was basically the same performance in both of those games, and both of them end up being wins. The only difference was Jimmy's not able to throw the touchdown, and you were playing in 0-degree weather for most of the game, which not fun or easy.
I believe he did throw the touchdown. It was just dropped.
Oh, touche. He did throw the touchdown pass. You're right.
George Kittle dropped it.
He did drop it.
That would have probably been a touchdown. You had the drop by Jawan Jennings. You had the drop by Brandon Ayuk. I think that his numbers should have been better in this game and against frigid conditions. I mean, you had those three alone. 14 of 19. Possibly for well over 200 yards. He had himself a game at that point. But they didn't catch it. It didn't happen. I'm one of those proponents that I don't believe drops should go against a quarterback, but they do. So that's what he's going to deal with. So you're right. The numbers are exactly the same, and the 49ers won. I think the 49ers have proven that they're a good enough football team that even when one of their players is struggling or one of their players doesn't seem to have a really good game, whether that's George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, whoever it is, Jimmy Garoppolo, when they don't have a good game, the rest of the team can overcome that. And so I think that we're going to see what he does in the NFC Championship game. I think he's going to have to do more than he did in 2019. They were able just to kind of let Raheem Mostert run wild in that football game. True. Jimmy, made his plays when he needed to make them early on, but really it was a run football game. I think there's going to be times he has to convert on pivotal third downs. He can do it. He did it against Green Bay, and he's going to have to do it in this game. And if he does, and they can stay on the field consistently and have these long drives, then they have a good chance to win.
Absolutely. Time of possession is huge in these matchups with these two teams, and we'll see how that pans out and how that plays out for the 49ers. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Tomlinson got embarrassed by the Packers 100%, says Lino Hernandez. I would disagree. I think he had one bad block, and he tripped over Trent Williams.
Yeah, they were going double. They were looking like it was double, and then he definitely got bodied. Green Bay defensive line interior though is very physical and very big. It's a little bit different than what you're going to see from the Rams. The Rams are built a little bit more on quickness. Of course, Aaron Donald, the perfect mixture of quickness and power, except for against Brunskill. But yeah, I think that it's a little bit of a different matchup. So these guys, he'll be able to anchor down against the Rams defensive line, minus Aaron Donald, because he's still the freak of nature.
I asked this question the last time the Niners played, right? The last time. I've now asked this question, Ant, on the podcast. Officially, this will be time number 5. But in conversations that we've had before we started the podcast, it would be like the 7th time. Can Daniel Brunskill continue this string of success? And I know you constantly say, it's time to just stop questioning and asking. It's happened, right? This is the reality is this, and we need to start accepting the reality. He hasn't played bad in the playoffs either. Brunskill has put together a couple solid performances. Can we see it again against Aaron Donald?
Yeah, I think it's going to help if you can run the football. But for some, this is not a fluke. I mean, if it would have happened 1 or 2 times, it can be considered a fluke. This is not a fluke. For some reason, the way that he plays against Aaron Donald, one of his techniques, the way he's able to anchor down, the leverage, it all plays in his favor. And he's just a good matchup for Aaron Donald. And you've seen them in the last game in Week 18 actually not play him on Daniel Brunskill very much.
That was the crazy part.
Yeah,
it was almost like they were keeping him away from Daniel Brunskill. That's what it felt like.
Well, it's smart. I mean, it was smart also to put him on the same side where Colton McKivitz is, because the 49ers like to run that way, and they knew Colton McKivitz was going to struggle in the pass game. But when they ran, they did try to run behind Colton McKivitz. So I think that, Trent Williams being there, I mean, Trent and Laken Tomlinson is the spot that they like to run the football the most. So putting Aaron Donald on Laken Tomlinson actually makes the most sense. You have your heavy run stopper against the heavy run side of the football. The problem is, I wait for the 49ers to run some wham blocks against him. Let Aaron Donald fly upfield, let Laken go to the second level, and have George Kittle or Kyle Juszczyk just absolutely obliterate him, or even pull a Daniel Brunskill and run a power O type play where he can get a little kick out block there, or in a trap type setting. I think those would be good things to do, and also kind of slow those guys up from wanting to penetrate so fast. If they have to keep their head on a swivel looking for somebody coming back at them, it could slow them up not only in the run game for penetration wise, but also the pass game.
And no, T.O., Donald would never admit that Daniel Brunskill has his number.
He can't even admit he knows who Deebo Samuel is.
He still can't admit it. He's never going to either. Look, at the end of the day, this matchup, too, is very interesting and intriguing. I know a lot of people are looking at and there's a lot of people. I mean, I know some 49ers fans are doing it. I know everybody in the media is obviously doing it. They look at the Rams' performance against the Bucs, and they see the domination early and them holding them off, and they go, all right, well, now this team they've overcome the demons, right? They get out to an early lead against San Francisco in Week 18. They didn't take care of it, but they just did it now against the Bucs, and so now they have that confidence to do those things. The only problem is with this Rams team is the Rams are built to beat teams like Tampa Bay. teams that want to throw the football a lot, that want to rely on Tom Brady's arm and things of that nature. When the Bucs were the version of themselves that we saw last year where they run the football heavy, they're a hard team to beat. When they try and beat the team that we saw this year, a lot of, which was at times wanting to throw the ball 40 times a game and not want to rely on the run game, even though you have a solid running back in Leonard Fournette, they allowed teams to stay in games that they shouldn't, or got down in games that they shouldn't have gotten down. When it was clicking and the pass game works, with all the weapons they had, they were like one of the hardest teams to stop offensively. But when it wasn't clicking and guys weren't getting open and Tom doesn't have the time to get the ball there, it's a different story, right? The Niners are not a team that's going to come out and run the ball 14 times in this football game. That is not going to happen.
No.
There is no world in which the Niners run the ball 14 times, barring Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel both going down on the first play of the game. That is the only way that you see anything like that happening.
Even then, they still run more than 14 times.
I still think they find a way to get to 20.
Well, for sure, because they brought in Trey Sermon against Green Bay, right? He started that game and he ran it 19 times. They're going to find a way to run the football. Whether it's JaMychal Hasty, Trey Sermon, whoever it is. But it's going to be Elijah Mitchell. It's going to be Deebo Samuel. And you're right. They're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to try to run the ball over 30 times. That's the magic number for the 49ers. If you start running the ball over 30 times, you have a really good chance to win. If you hit 40 times, you run the ball 40 times, you're winning the football game. They have done that all season long. And when they get to that number, it hits. And it doesn't matter what the production of those yards are. So this is something that the 49ers have done consistently throughout the season. It definitely creates the opportunities in the pass game with the play-action pass. But we all know the numbers are going to be higher than, if you rush the ball 40 times between those two guys, Deebo's breaking a couple big runs. He's going to have a couple big plays. Physicality and attitude that they're going to bring is going to put the Los Angeles Rams on their heels. They just don't have the linebacker core. If that front five they're going to put on the line of scrimmage, the Rams can stop the run game, can limit them, they have an opportunity. But if it can't, the 49ers are about to roll.
Very true. And as you speak it, Juanito says it. I'll keep saying that the Rams' weaknesses at middle linebacker will be why we win. Run at Donald and Miller, get our O-line on them, let Juice Kittle own the middle linebacker, and Mitchell and Deebo run with anger through the middle of this Rams front. The weaknesses at the linebacker spot are apparent. They're glaring. When they're able to flow downhill and get a guy before he gets ahead of steam, yeah, they can have some success. And Donald and Miller create situations where there's some lanes and some avenues to create that and get that guy downhill. But you got to be able to do it consistently. And the way the Niners and Kyle Shanahan scheme up the run game, as well as we cannot not give Mike McDaniels credit because he is the run game coordinator and phenomenal at that as he is. All of those things play well for San Francisco. As much as Sean McVay knows the Niners also know Sean McVay. They know what the defense wants to do. You know what pieces they have, and you know what those pieces want to do. I saw Jeff Saturday talking about this on a podcast the other day. When you play a team 3 times in a season, when you actually physically do that, the third matchup is less about trying to trick the other guy and trying to get them off guard so much as it's just imposing your will and executing what you need to execute. And he goes, and that's why this game is so hard. He goes, a lot of people feel like, and myself included, the Rams are a more talented football team, but the Niners that's their identity. Their identity is imposing their will. And it just makes it really, really hard in those situations to believe that the team that can't impose that is all about imposing their will isn't going to get it done. He goes, and there's some people who are going to be able to accept that and some people who can't. He goes, but it's playoff football now. The third time isn't always the charm for a team who gets beat the first 2 times, because if a team has figured out how to impose their will and do the things they want to do against you, and you haven't figured out a way to counter it, or you can't out-execute it to stop it, good luck.
Yeah, and the 49ers beat them in different fashions. I mean, the very first time they played, the 49ers blew them out of the building.
Correct.
Smoked them. And then the second time they played, the Rams were the ones doing the smoking. But unfortunately, they didn't make sure they had enough left in the tank in the second half. They hit the NOS a little early, as it would be. And the 49ers were like, too early, guys, and went right past them. So I think this is going to be a different style of game. I think you can throw out the first 2 because I think this is going to have a new, unique outlook. But I think the 49ers are going to get after it. And I seen somebody ask, I don't know who it was. Oh, T.O. asked, first play a run. I don't think it's 100% yet that first play is a run. You would think so, but I wouldn't be shocked if they don't put Deebo Samuel in the backfield and run a play-action pass on the first.
Dan Stevenson says, like to see Kittle involved as well. It depends on what they do with Jalen Ramsey, I think.
Exactly.
If Jalen Ramsey is covering Kittle on third downs, Kittle is probably, for most of the time, won't be someone you go to. There are situations, don't get me wrong. We saw, Jimmy Garoppolo complete a big one to George Kittle against Stephon Gilmore in the 2020 season on a big third down completion. So you can go to Kittle at times, but I don't expect it to necessarily be over the middle of the field in those situations. If Kittle's got Ramsey one-on-one, it'll probably be a shot towards the sideline or maybe a little bit of an underneath route in which you're hoping he can break a tackle and then pick up the yards he needs to pick up.
Yeah, and I see Juanito brought up first play RPO to Ayuk. I don't think it'll be an RPO on the first play. That's not a bad call, though. Juanito, if they decided to run that would be a great play call. I think Ayuk is one of those guys that's going to need to be active in this football game as far as he's going to have to make some plays because Jalen Ramsey might be taking away George Kittle. And if he is, again, like they tried to go with the first matchup, then Debo and Brandon Ayuk are going to be the ones that make plays. And if they decide to do something else with Jalen, it's about locating Jalen and then just doing whatever you want off of that. Because the other guys, one-on-one, the 49ers can beat. So Jalen Ramsey, he's going to help eliminate somebody, and then everybody else is gonna feast on the secondary of the Rams.
Marketing Pro thinks the Rams are capable of blowing out the Niners, but the Niners are not capable of blowing out the Rams.
Marketing Pro watched Face Off, by the way.
He did. He's a big fan of J Hill.
Yeah,
now.
that's why he's incapable.
Yes.
31-10, 49ers blew out the Rams. 49ers won the next one 27-24. Who again is incapable of blowing someone out? I have not seen the Rams blow them out yet. Is it incapable? No. Improbable? Yes.
True. He believes the Rams are going to jump on the Niners early, but they cannot turn the ball over. Marketing Pro, unfortunately for you, my guy, I just think that the Rams are it's improbable, it's inevitable that the Rams will turn over the football, I think is what the word is that I'm going for. This is a team
that's a lock.
This is a team that's consistently done it.
It's a stone cold hard lock. They're going to turn over the football. I don't know how many times. It might be one, but they're going to turn over the football.
At least
Matthew
once.
Stafford will make a mistake. Their center will do something stupid. Akers will fumble the football. Don't think the peanut punch ain't coming for Akers.
Tommy Huxley Akers will have 3 fumbles.
There you go.
Wow, that's really bold. Except it's not because he had 2 last week.
He had 2 last week. And that's the thing. It's in his head now, right? He's got to focus on securing the football. And right now, the 49ers defensive line gives up, 1 yard before contact?
True.
1 yard. Akers is not exactly the most physically imposing running back.
Especially coming off the Achilles.
It'd be better for them to have Henderson in this game. I think he's built more to go against the 49ers defense because now if you have Akers going sideline to sideline, you have these linebackers running sideline to sideline. Another key thing, Alex, how many times are the Rams going to try to keep the 49ers in nickel? Are they going to go 3 receivers? Are they going to go are they going to go a tight end set with 2 receivers? So that way they can keep.
That's what they tried last time.
They tried that last time, and the 49ers didn't have Drake Greenlaw and Azeez Al-Shaair. Now they have both of them. Will they still try to do that? They couldn't run the football last time. Can they run the football this time?
If they can find a way to run against the front 7, then the Rams will make this a much closer football game, if not an opportunity to run away with it late. If they cannot establish that run game, man, I don't see any way. They're going to be too one-dimensional offensively for them to be able to consistently be able to do what they need to do. Megan, do you think the Rams get a hot start like last time? I think Ant and I both believe that that's not going to happen this time around.
No, I don't think so. I think that the 49ers were the ones feeling all the pressure in the Week 18 matchup. All the pressure was on them, and they came out and they could have been deflated by what happened. And Matthew Stafford came out there. I mean, he was a surgeon, and he was getting it done in a big way. They were converting on 3rd downs. Once the 49ers settled in, D'Amico Ryan's game plan took advantage of what he saw. The 49ers got their run game going. It all started with a little bit of a first half movement from the offense and getting the field goal. But after that, it was the 49ers dominance taking full effect. And I think that the Niners are going to get going. I think this one could be Niners getting out to a start this time.
I think that could happen as well. Take the old pill, say sign Le'Veon Bell, Niners. He's available. No, not happening. $5 super chat from Words of Wisdom. Here's a plan. D'Amico sends sellout blitzes on Stafford on first play just to send a statement of, we are coming for you all day.
I would like to see the Rams start with the ball. That means the 49ers deferred again. I would like that. I don't think they're going to come at him with an all-out blitz. I think that Sean McVay wants to run the football in the first play. I think he's hoping he can get something going on the ground. So I wouldn't do that, but I
You don't think Sean would be extra aggressive in play action and try and take a shot?
He could. Yeah, he could. I mean, that might not work out for him. The 49ers are going to show him a 2-deep look. A 2-deep safety look. Okay, you want to throw into coverage on the first play? That sounds great. Let's do that. Let's let Jimmy Ward or Jaquiski Tartt come out down with a big pick. We saw Matthew Stafford throw into coverage twice. One time into double coverage with Tartt and Mosley, interception Mosley. Another time, Ambry Thomas running in cover 3, over the top in perfect technique, and it comes away with an interception. You can't make those type of mistakes in those big games.
We'll see, Words. We'll see. He says just one time, brother. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey,
I
if
don't
they
know.
do it and it works, fantastic. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give so much props to Words of Wisdom.
Words of Wisdom gets all the props.
Yeah, he will get all the props for that, for sure.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens there. We'll see. Has there ever been blocked kicks like last week in a playoff game before, says Stovey?
That sort of thing had never happened this century. A blocked punt and a blocked field goal in the same game had never happened. In fact, Rich Eisen, I believe they were going into the century before that to try to find out if it had ever happened
1800s.
before.
I think it happened. I think the last time it happened, I think he was like 18 something.
Okay, so yeah, it's been hundreds of years. So
That's crazy.
It's something very unique. It's finding a way to win.
Wait, and they've
They've
been playing football for over 100 years?
Yeah, well over 100 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
The
so
49ers
crazy.
came out in 1946. Come on, man.
Very true. Shooter, who had updated, and he updated his membership yet again.
Nice.
And welcome.
Thank you, Shooter.
Welcome, member Shooter, back for his 5th month on the channel. Shout out, get some tutty emojis in the chat right now, all you Cutback crew members, anyone who's a channel member here on YouTube. Give Shooter some tutty emojis for 5 months here on YouTube with the Cutback crew. Absolutely incredible. Where does Stafford rank amongst the QBs that the Niners have played so far this playoffs? Excellent question, Shooter.
I think ahead of Dak and behind Aaron.
Okay.
I think right now he's kind of in that second spot. I think he's ahead of Dak. I mean, we did kind of me, you, and Jason J. Hill kind of did our 14 quarterbacks going into the playoffs, and I believe I had Stafford kind of there in the 7-8 range.
I'm trying to remember what my
mainly
ranking
because
was.
he hadn't proven that he could get it done in the playoffs, but I think he's very talented. He's a super talented guy. So I would say, yeah, Dak was the weakest of the quarterbacks, and even then he's still good. And then Aaron's one of the better ones, and then yeah. I mean, you've beat one of the best quarterbacks that you were going to see in the playoffs, and Matthew Stafford is a good one, but he's not a great one.
I had Stafford right in the middle of the pack,
Yeah.
right in the middle of the pack. So look, it's going to be absolutely incredible to see what happens and what we do with this. And Marketing Pro, 85 likes. You are correct, my guy. If it's not 85 likes, we need to get those like numbers up.
Yeah, and Marketing Pro, if it could get to 85, that sounds like a very George Kittle number. Thank you for that.
Sounds like a George Kittle number, and in fact, let's smash that like button right now.
Marketing Pro knows about marketing.
He does know about marketing, and
Yeah.
let's take a little hint from him there. Let's get this video to George Kittle amounts of likes. Get it to 85 right now. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. Jimmy G is average. Matt is solid from Omar. Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah. I don't know how much better solid is than average.
It's solid is pretty much average, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
But that's close. Okay.
I mean, right? Gas, liquid, solid. It's right in the
yeah.
it's right in the middle. Okay. Well, hey, it's a okay. Niners voodoo too much for Rodgers again, said Ian. Look, it was a great win. It was a great win for the Niners. And Dan Stevenson said Niners have one on D special teams. This one will be on the O, is what he's calling. He's calling his shot right now, and he's pointing out towards the offense and saying you're going to get it done this week, and that could be the case.
All three phases have to get it done.
I agree with you on that.
Because the Rams have very good special teams, so our special teams has to show up again. And really what it has to do is just be sustainable. It doesn't need to make the plays it made against Green Bay. It just can't get beat. It can't be a reason why you lose. And the Rams special teams is good. They got dynamic returners, so they're gonna have to be on top of their game for sure.
They need to. They definitely need to. And you know what? It's going to be a lot easier to be on top of your game when you have the faithful showing up in SoFi, taking care of business, being loud, and causing problems for the Rams on their home field. It's tracked right now. We talked about this a little earlier. At 65% of the fans in there are supposed to right now projected to be 49ers faithful members. So if you were excited about that, that's awesome. It should be. That's going to be a positive thing for the 49ers. That's going to help out the offense. It's going to help out the defense a lot. It's going to let them feed off of that energy and make the Rams have to work a little bit harder at home, which is going to be frustrating as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's going to be an interesting part of this game. I think the faithful is going to make a big impact in it because this is about to be, Levi's South. 49ers are about to have the closest thing to a home game. I mean, anytime you have 65% of an audience, you're doing something right, especially in a visiting, arena like that. So I'm excited about this, and I think it might go up. I know they're saying 65%. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get to 70, 75. I've seen a lot of people that are just waiting, biding their time, and they know because the game's in California, they can buy their tickets Saturday and be down there. They can buy them on Sunday morning.
You can buy it Sunday morning and drive in time. Yeah, absolutely. Game's not till the afternoon.
Yeah, so I think people are going to be ready for it. There's other people that said they're going down there to tailgate, And if they can get tickets, great. If they can't, they're just going to make their impact known on the outside.
$2 super chat from Tommy Huxley. I think the Lambs would have lost in Lambeau. This time of the year, it's tough. And one of their biggest strengths would have been limited, and that's the ability to throw the football in that weather. It would have been a tougher. That situation would have been a lot tougher for the Rams. There was only one team in the playoffs going to Lambeau that wasn't going to be as big of a problem, and that was the 49ers. This is why Rich Eisen was talking about it all week leading up to this game. He kept saying over and over again, everyone is got to be pissed with the Rams because the Rams had an opportunity to put that team away. The team that can come in, run the football, play really good defense, and basically eat the clock away. He said, you didn't put that team away going into the playoffs. They're a matchup nightmare for everyone, and they're just starting to hit their stride. And if they win a cup, they beat Dallas. If you beat Green Bay in Lambeau Field in the weather that's supposed to happen, it's going to be really, really hard for anyone to stop them or prevent them from wanting to roll right all the way through this thing right back to the Super Bowl. He said the team's too talented. There's too many pieces, and Kyle Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the league. And that's the case. But it's not going to be easy. This is a formidable opponent that you have this week. This is a formidable team that you've already faced twice this year, that you took care of business one time really well, and the other time they gave you their best look. One of the best looks that we've seen from the Rams over the last 3 seasons was that Week 18 game and that Week 18 matchup. Can the Niners overcome potentially a better look or give them an even better look? I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have a better look. I mean, I think we saw that from Green Bay. Green Bay gave their best look in Week 3. And then in the playoffs, offensively, they didn't really do anything different than they did in Week 3. That's kind of what I was alluding to when we were watching film. I just didn't think they changed enough. I think the Rams, kind of went out there and blew their wad in Week 18 in the first half. They were trying to end the 49ers with a haymaker. The 49ers got up before the 10 count, and they went out there and got it done. It's kind of like Rocky. They thought they had him down, but he just kept coming and coming. That's kind of how the 49ers are this year. So I'm curious, how this game goes. But you're right. I've seen a lot of the comments about, hey, people need the 49ers need to come out aggressive, physical. Jan Stewart says bully bowl. Yeah, that's what the 49ers need to do. Establish the run game, impose their will, and just let the Rams know, like, hey, this is how it's going to be. And if we start getting some of these 8 to 10, 10-play stretches where the Niners are just running the ball every single time, that's not good news for the Rams. And that means the 49ers defense is over there chilling on the sidelines, and the 49ers are imposing their will, and that means that the defense just isn't having to do as much. And they're going to be fresh and able to get after Stafford when the time calls.
Very true and very accurate. Juanito, we have a group of 10 buying tickets. Oh,
very nice.
My goodness gracious.
Well done, Juanito.
I'm looking forward to that, my guy. Let us know what seats you're going to be in. And Tony Two-Tone, make sure you're here tomorrow then, because this comment right here, we get into a little bit of this tomorrow in tomorrow's daily, talking about why the Niners have been 6-0 against the Rams the last few times. I believe it's less about beating a team 3 times in a season or 7 straight and more about beating one team one time on that day. Past has no bearing on the present day.
That is true. I think it's a narrative that for fans, it's a narrative for media members to talk about, is that I think for especially a team that is won the 6 times in a row, it has no bearing on you. You go in there and you approach it as one game at a time because none of those matter. From coaches, you can take little parts of that game plan or whatever, or the things that worked, you can go use it. But nobody's going in there like, we beat the Rams 6 times, we're going to win this game. I mean, no one thinks that, honestly.
No one honestly is thinking that or planning that. Guys, are the Rams wide receivers better than Green Bay's?
Yeah, I think so. I think Devontae Adams is the best receiver in my opinion.
Of all of them, yes.
Yeah, I think he's the best receiver, and then
that's not a slight to Cooper Kupp.
It's a slight to Cooper Kupp.
Well,
for me at least,
that's not a slight for me.
To me, Devontae Adams, if he was in a similar system, he would have better numbers.
Listen, I agree with you.
But his numbers were already ridiculous, and he has no help.
This is what I mean. This is why, for me, it's not a slight to Cooper Kupp, because I think Cooper Kupp does a lot of incredible things, and he's a number 1 wide receiver everywhere. But if you took Devontae Adams and put him there, Devontae Adams does all of the things that Cooper Kupp does, faster, bigger, stronger, and can make catches that Cooper can't. And Cooper makes a lot of incredible catches, but you know what Cooper's not doing? He's not catching jump balls.
He's also not doing it by himself. Devontae Adams is doing it by himself.
True.
But I think Cooper Kupp is close. I think Cooper Kupp's one of those top 5 receivers in the league. Mm-hmm. But then you add in Odell Beckham Jr. He has his ability. But I like Van Jefferson. I think Jefferson's a good wide receiver. So I think he's better than Allen Lazard and those guys. So, yeah, I would say that that is a better situation. If the Green Bay Packers would have had Robert Tonyan, I would say Tonyan's better. than
Higbee. Agreed.
But I think Higbee's formidable in the pass game. So we'll see. I think that anytime you have to use him as a pass catcher, in place of some of your receivers, that you're wondering what's going on there. But yeah, I think the Rams are a little bit better in that area.
Agreed with you there. They're definitely better in that area. They have to get some more pieces in that area. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But there's always trade-offs. You can't have everything. So you can't have all the wide receivers and the quarterback for years and years and years. It's just not how it works. Right now, the Rams got themselves an upgrade at the quarterback position. They're all in with this team. They're all in on this moment, and they're trying to get over the hump. They're trying to get to a Super Bowl, be a team that in back-to-back seasons, stadium hosts the Super Bowl, and you play in said Super Bowl. It's going to be a tough order and tall task for the Rams because you have a team that knows you inside and out, that has played you very, very well over the last 3 years. And this is going to be a slobber knocker of a matchup for both of these teams. We're going to see what happens. And here's the good news. Tomorrow's news live stream is going to be all about practice. So we're going to get even more updates. Ambry Thomas, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo and his thumb. What's Jeff Wilson up to? We're going to get a bunch of information tomorrow for tomorrow's news live stream. That's the great news. That's the thing I'm most excited about now, Ant, is that we're doing these this week, is being able to talk about this stuff as it happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's exciting about being able to get into the news updates and everyone jump in and let us know what they're thinking as well. But yeah, we're going to get a lot of information tomorrow because Kyle Shanahan's going to talk to the media. And anytime that Kyle Shanahan talks to the media, that's when you get your injury updates. And that's where you kind of find out who's going to be on the practice field and what it looks like for the week. So I'm excited about that because, yeah, I want to get updates on Trent Williams, Ambry Thomas, Jeff Wilson Jr., and these other guys. Let's see where we're sitting. It's going to give us paint a better picture for what we're going to see on Sunday against the Rams.
Accurate, Ant, and I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to see who said it and where it was said because I absolutely loved the comment. I just, oh man, I'm blanking on where it is now. If I find it, I'll let you know. But I mean, listen, this is going to be an incredible matchup. It's going to be an incredible game. The Niners are making roster moves with Jarrod Wilson and him, being waived by the team. So what that means for the 49ers, what route they plan to take. Are they going to be activating a Tavon Wilson? Are they just creating a roster spot for an eventual certain somebody down the road in about a week or so? Who knows? I'm not going to talk about it any more than that, and I can hold my breath and hope.
Well done. I'm glad you're not going to talk about it. You're just going to sit out there and tease everyone.
That's right.
But yeah, right. I think that there's going to be some roster moves that have to be made. They made one right now. Let's see what that means. I mean, is it going to have any I guess take on the game? Is it going to cause any problems for the game? Probably not. I don't think it's going to be a move. I think it's more of a maintenance thing that they have to do with their roster.
I agree with you there. And if that's a let's go Brandon Ayuk, then yes, sir, that would be agreed with. And if it's not, then enjoy timeout. Enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. I'm excited. Ant, about what the 49ers can do against this Rams team.
Yeah.
A team that they've beat 6 straight times. A team that was making fun of and pointing at George Kittle and get him a body bag and all this stuff. George Kittle said in his post-game presser, it was a fun body bag game. I hope I get to see them again. And then maniacally laughed and walked off the screen and walked off the podium, excuse me. Are they going to get another body bag game, Ant? Are we going to get George Kittle fulfilling his promise at the end of the 2019 Super Bowl loss? And I'm going to get back here. This is not happening again. We're going to do this. Are all of those things going to play out? We're going to see. This is a huge week for this team. Niners are now in a position that no one expected them to be in. Yet again, in 2019, no one expected them to make the run that they made because no one thought it was their time. And after the start of the season, no one thought the team had the juice in them to get to this point. In both years, in both cases, you find yourself here with an opportunity, one more game to get to a Super Bowl.
The intensity is going to be real. The energy from that stadium is going to be real. It's going to be an exciting game. But we got a lot of information that's going to be coming along the way and a lot of cool videos that are going to be coming out along the way. A lot of great conversation as we get farther into this week. It's going to be a lot of fun, Alex, and I can't wait. And I'm really excited about what's happening tomorrow, but also what's happening in the Friday Frenzy. That's going to be exciting. It's all a build, and yes, the 49ers need to get it done. You have to win this game. The season is a success if you can get to the Super Bowl. The season is a real success if you can win the Super Bowl. So this is what they got to do. They got to get it done, and it gives them an opportunity, and that's all you're asking for.
Absolutely. Marketing Pro, I like to see you chatting up with the TCC and having a good time and back and forth. The mutual respect there, I absolutely love it. And let's hope we get a fantastic game this weekend. Tomorrow morning, daily, 11 a.m. You're not going to want to miss it. why the 49ers have gone 6-0 against the Rams. We ask the question, we dive into the numbers, the film, we take a look at all that stuff, we talk about it and discuss it. You don't want to miss that. And then Ant, getting ever so close. Thursday, Wednesday night you'll have the live stream, right? You'll have the daily news live stream now. Thursday, you'll have a nice daily video, a wonderful live stream after that. And then Friday, the Friday Frenzy with a glorious Madden simulation.
Yeah.
A glorious game preview show. A glorious What's Good with Jay and the Bay.
A lot of glorious.
It's a lot of glorious, and then a phenomenal, change it up there a little bit, a phenomenal Know Your Opponent in which we take a look at the Week 18 matchup, take a look at what Kyle Shanahan can build off of, what the Rams did very well against the 49ers early, and how maybe the Niners can adjust.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of content. So stick around all week. It's going to be fun. We're going to get into it. And if you haven't checked out the Madden simulation for the 49ers versus Green Bay, and you just want to go check that out. People are still watching it and are just blown away by how the game goes and how it ends. So go check that out. It's an exciting time. If you have some time you just want to enjoy a Madden sim, go do that. And our Madden sim against the Rams, that's going to be fun on Friday as well.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to get to that and to get that recorded and done and get that out for you guys. We'll see what Madden has in store this week. It's been a wild ride with Madden the last couple of weeks. It's been a wild ride with Madden all season long.
Yeah,
it really, truly has. But Cutback Crew, this is a lot of fun. We hope you enjoyed this, and leave comments. Leave comments down below right now. If there's any daily videos you want to see this week, any topics you want us to cover, let us know about it. Let's have a conversation about it. And who knows, if you guys put together some incredible topics, maybe we have one heck of an incredible TCC-inspired daily video.
Yeah.
So make sure you're commenting those down below. And Ant, man, another fun episode, another fun conversation with the Cutback Crew on a nice. This is a Tuesday night. Tomorrow night will be a Wednesday night, and a Thursday night. Oh my goodness gracious almighty! We got live streams coming out the wazoo. Live streams all week, content every day, and hopefully a 49ers win on Sunday. But Ed, I think it's about that time.
Yeah, we got to end with words of wisdom, though. Hopefully, your guys' channel blows up like we're gonna blow up SoFi Stadium.
That right there,
yeah,
would be phenomenal. Let's blow up SoFi first, though, with like a huge win, and then we can blow up.
Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so let's chalk another one up.
We'll see you tomorrow morning. Cutback Crew, 11 a.m. Be there.